What is going on, you sweet freaking beans? I'm Lexi DIY and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we're doing a very exciting video. I actually filmed this a month ago, but if you watched my video last week on why I left YouTube for 6 months, you know why it hadn't made it to the internet yet. Anyway, we are doing a 1 week and $1,000 renovation. This is, well, it was for my brother's condo. He wanted to put it on the market, so I thought, let's just put a little bit of money into it, update it so that maybe you can get a little bit more out of it. So that's what we did. Now, caveat, I didn't get through everything that I wanted to do or the $1,000 because we had some time setbacks. Even though I have shown this process on shorts and you've already seen it, you haven't seen what I'm going to show you at the end, which is some visuals and different stuff that I would have used the rest of the week and the rest of the $1,000 on. But anyway, let's hop right into it.
So this is where we're starting out. We have the entryway. We also have this kitchen. And the cabinets weren't in the best shape, but obviously with $1,000, even with the small kitchen, we did not have the budget to replace those, so we're gonna be updating those. But trust me, it's a huge difference at the end. And it's connected to this little dining area, which is connected to the living room that you'll see in a second. We're also gonna update these doors. And the light fixtures in here, everything has just been here since probably it was built. First things first, we took down the curtains and then I took off any of like the outlet covers and the switch covers. I could have painted around those, but I didn't really feel like it. I'm gonna be reusing them and I want everything to look as clean and professional as possible. Then there was Mew, that's my brother's cat, he's so freaking cute. And my brother wiped down the baseboards to get them ready for me to paint so there wasn't any like dust or debris on them. And then there's Goober, that's his dog, so cute, my little helpers. I filled in any of the holes in the wall and I like to use that pink stuff because you can see when it's ready to be sanded because it turns white. Now, any of that stuff like the patch and these tarps and paintbrushes, I spent around $40 and we're just gonna put that in like a miscellaneous category. And I did have some stuff left over from when I did stuff at my mom's house, so I didn't need to spend as much as I normally would on like paintbrushes and things like that. So to start off, we're going with $40. Now, the first update that we're actually doing is we're gonna be painting everything white. Shocker, I know. But listen, he's putting this on the market. Well, he already put it on the market. And it is a smaller space, so I wanted to make it feel light and bright. If you're gonna put your house on the market, I would recommend a fresh coat of paint regardless because it just makes everything look a lot more crisp and clean. And the wall paint cost me $60, so that is bringing our total so far to $100. Now, if my brother's house wasn't a plane ride away, I would have brought my paint sprayer and that would have made everything go so much faster and then maybe I would have been able to get everything that I wanted to get done, but that's okay. We went with a roller. I was lucky enough to already have this extension at my mom's house and a roller and stuff, so I just needed some like heads for it, if that makes sense. I don't really know. And I really love the entryway color, so I'm sad that I like had to paint it white, but I just felt like it would be more cohesive and make it bright and whatever. You guys freaking get it. Anyway, I took out all of the cabinets and I am using painter's tape just to label them. So I'm labeling the inside of the cabinet and the door or the drawer. That way I know exactly where to put them back on later. And I am keeping a little baggie with all of the hardware and the screws because I am going to be keeping and reusing them after I give them a wash. Also, yes, you are seeing me stand on the countertop with my bun barely touching the ceiling because I am very short. Sometimes it comes in handy though. Then I haven't shown you guys the hall bathroom yet because I didn't get to do as much as I wanted to do in here, but I did paint these. So I took those cabinet doors off and labeled those as well. And then I took the hinges off of the doors. Again, guys, keep these in plastic baggies and label the bags if you need to, if there's multiple different kinds of screws and stuff like that, just so that you know exactly where everything goes when you're ready. And then I just gave all of the cabinets a really good deep cleaning. Next up, I needed to take this contact paper off. So she actually did a really good job. There was like no bubbles in this, and I was amazed because whenever I try to do contact paper, there's just bubbles the house down boots, and I don't know why. But they didn't have enough to finish the entire countertop, so only half of it was on, and then it had been on for a while, so a little bit of it was peeling, and I figured let's just take it up and make everything cohesive. Now, I wish I would have had my little scraper, because this took me like forever. I had my like utility blade from my mom's house, but it wasn't much help. So I would recommend, if you're trying to take anything off like this, that you get a like little scraper blade, because it would have made things go a lot more quickly. Now it's time to do a primer coat on the cabinets. I'm using a shellac based primer, and I did use the entire little quart of it. That cost $25, so now our budget is up to $125 spent. I'm using my trim brush to get around the edges, and then I'm going back with my tiny little foam roller to do the rest. I also have them resting up on paper plates because this stuff is very, very sticky, and you don't want it really like touching anything. It would have stuck to the plastic. So just make sure that your cabinet faces and drawers and stuff are not sticking directly to a surface. Another thing I want to mention, I did not sand these because for the most part they are MDF, and like I said, they weren't in the best of condition, but if you have wood cabinets, I would recommend probably giving them a light scuff sand. I am now going on the back like base of the cabinets and all of the cabinet fronts, again with the shellac primer. You want to use this and let it cure for 24 hours. The reason being is it's really sticky, and it does dry down to like the touch fast, but if you give it 24 hours, it's actually going to cure and make your cabinets really durable, and it's going to keep that paint on. I think one of the challenges for me for this project that I only had so much time to complete was trying to figure out the timing and what I should do first. Now, something like using a shellac primer that needs to cure for 24 hours before you can go back on it with a coat of paint was one of my like top priorities, but it was really stinky, so I didn't want anybody else to need to be in the house while I did it, because it smells pretty bad, I'm not gonna lie about it. So once I had that on, then I went back and finished rolling paint on the walls in the kitchen, and you guys can see how much better it's already looking with the bright white in comparison to just like the eggshell sort of tone that was in here before. I'm opening up the first cabinet color, which is going to be Smoky Taupe by Benjamin Moore. This is not sponsored by them. I just highly recommend this as your paint of choice for your cabinets, the advanced line, because it's really durable, and I love this color. Now, for a gallon of this, it was $80, and that brings our budget right now to $205. Now, these are only gonna be the color of the base cabinets, but like I said, I got a gallon. So we're going to use this color to do the doors as well. And let me tell you guys, this paint goes so far. If I would have had more time, one, I would have done every single door in the house, and I guarantee you I wouldn't have even gone through the entire like gallon of paint. But even after everything that you'll see me do with this color, I ended up being at like maybe half a gallon, which it just goes so far. They do have a little bit more of an expensive paint than maybe one that you would find at like a hardware store. but it makes a difference, and their advanced line, you want to leave it cure before you do a second coat for like 15 to 18 hours, I think the back says, and then it does take a week to fully cure, but you just have to like be careful with it. You can put it back in and you can use it and it'll be dry to the touch, but since it's going to have a curing agent, it's going to be way less likely to scratch or get marked up. Once the second coat had dried for around 24 hours, I felt comfortable that it was hard enough for me to like flip them over and put on the hardware. Now, I would have loved to do the back, but we were in a time crunch, so that just wasn't an option. But I put the hinges back on, and I did give the hinges a really deep clean in the sink. I scrubbed them with a Scrub Daddy, and then I put my cabinets back on. Now, you'll see I did the upper ones white. I didn't really want to show like just me painting the cabinets the whole time, because let me tell you, there was a lot of footage of a lot of painting. But I also got this color Chantilly lace for the top, and I used the same paint on the trim. I also did a coat on their trim as well. And I used the same color Chantilly lace, and I used the same paint because, like I said, it's super, super durable. So for stuff that is going to be used a lot, that is what I would recommend. But the other coat, or the other gallon of paint that I used for the trim and the top cabinets, cost me $80 as well, which brought our budget to $285. Realistically, in the kitchen, I only used like $100 worth of paint, and that's being generous. It's probably closer to like $80 worth of paint in there. And it completely transformed. So if you want to update your space on a tight budget, get some paint. You don't even need to get a full gallon. You can get quarts. Next thing up that was really important was a new ceiling fan. The one that they didn't have a light in it, which is totally fine. I prefer to, if I'm gonna swap them out, to put one in that has a light just for function. And the new fan cost $139, bringing the total to $424. Also, I had an issue. I needed a little bit longer screws. So if you see it hanging down in the afters, don't worry. They got longer screws and were able to like click it in, but yeah, just ignore that. I wanted to update this light fixture, and I'll get to that later, but I did not have the time. So I got these little clip-on shades to just make it look like a little bit more transitional and updated, and I actually really think it made a huge difference. Each of these cost $10, so that cost $60, bringing the total to $484. Let's take a look at the before and afters.
Let's talk about what I would have done if I had more time. I had budgeted the money, but I ran out of the time. I only used like 3 or 4 days. So anyway, if I had a few more days and I used all my dollars, the first thing I would have done is I would have added a backsplash in that kitchen. I would have used a peel and stick backsplash for time purposes, but there's something important to note about peel and stick backsplashes. There are some that are like a plastic material, but they're really thick and 3D, and so they look like real tile. And I think that those are really, really great. I think that they look nice, but for me personally, I would have chose a peel and stick backsplash that is made out of a more natural material. So instead of like plastic, they have real marble peel and stick backsplash tiles, and they also have some that are made out of like shells, for lack of better terms, and they do have some that are made out of like metal. Those aren't my favorite though. So let me show you the two options that I would have been considering. First is this marble option. Now this is like $12 a square foot. Mind you, this is like a super small kitchen, and I would have only done it on the oven side of the wall. So that would have cost me around like $108. But I actually think, even though that one is more my personal style, the next one that I found, which is also made out of a more like raw material, is this like shell one. And this was, it came out to like $85 for the 9 square feet that I would have needed for it. And it's like iridescent, but it also brought out the tones of the cabinets. And normally you would run it like long ways. I would have run it up and down just to elongate the kitchen. That would have brought our total to $569. This next one is my biggest regret that I did not get to. I wish I would have prioritized this because it drives me nuts that I left it the way I left it. I would have added a new entryway light. The light that was there was missing some stuff, and also I do think it was kind of weird that in a, you know, home with an average size ceiling that they decided to put a drop down light in the entryway. So I actually would have changed it out for this $52 light that I found online, and it's a flush mount. This would have been the best improvement. Adding that light would have brought the total budget to $621. Next up, and stay with me here because it's a lot of math is mathing, okay? I would have actually returned the shades that cost me $60 that I used to update the current light fixture in the dining room. So add $60 back to my budget. Then I would have replaced it with this light right here, which is $110. This would have brought my budget to $671. And I wanted to show you it from a few different angles because the reason I chose this specific light, even though it looks very similar to what is there right now, is it's a little bit more of a modern take, but it's also longer. And in the space, I feel like having a longer light fixture instead of a more like wide light fixture all the way around would actually make a tight space feel a lot larger. So that's why I chose that one, but still very happy. That's just like nitpicking. I'm still very happy with how those shades turned out, and I think that it actually was really, really cute. The next thing that I would have done is a room that I didn't show you guys, but their guest bedroom had this ceiling fan, and I would have swapped it out to match the ceiling fan that is in the living room that we swapped out. This is gonna make everything a lot more cohesive and also updated without doing too much. Again, the ceiling fan was $139, so that would have taken our budget to $810. Moving on to the primary bedroom, I would have done the exact same thing as I planned to do in the guest bedroom, which is install a new ceiling fan, the same one as the living room, again for the cohesion, another $139, bringing our total cost at that point to $949. And my final updates that I would have done would have been in the primary bathroom. I just didn't have time. I didn't get to it. But it wouldn't have cost me anything additional. I just would have painted the cabinets the same color as the lowers from the kitchen. And then I would have spent my last $51 on getting some trim pieces and construction adhesive and making little frames around the mirrors. Now, you guys, listen, my example of this that I drew in Procreate is not very like visually appealing, but stick with me. I would have painted the like affordable trim to be the same color as the cabinets. I would have used construction adhesive to put it onto the mirrors. And I think, honestly, I didn't need that much material, and I already had the paint. Construction adhesive for the amount I needed, probably not too expensive. So I actually think in that $51, I also would have been able to buy some miter shears, which is how I would have cut the trim without like a big expensive saw. Now, these are your best friend. They're normally, I think, like $14 to $16, depending on where you get them. Really affordable, and it's like scissors for trim. I kind of calculated that in there, and that would bring our grand total to $1,000, which was our budget for this. That means if I would have used the $1,000, I probably could have touched almost every single room except their laundry room and their balcony, which I think is a lot of updates for $1,000. Guys, please remember that you don't have to spend hundreds and thousands of dollars to update your space. You can do these projects one by one. You don't need to spend $1,000 all at one time to make your home how you want. So just keep that in mind when you're wanting to update or renovate for your next project. But I'm really happy with how it turned out. His house did in fact sell, and I can't wait to do more things like this for my friends, families, and maybe even some of my followers here in the future, because I absolutely love transforming spaces for other people. If that's something you would be interested in, leave me a comment below. Let me know that that's something you want to see on this channel. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel and ring the bell notification so that you never miss when I upload next. And if you like the video, then like the video, please, and leave a comment because it really helps out my channel, and it's free 99. I just have so much exciting stuff coming up, so make sure to stay tuned, and I will see you guys next Sweet Bean Sunday. Bye!